Hi, Stephanie. I think we're waiting on a few more of our administrators. Thank you.
Yep. And I know some of our team's going to be popping in a little bit late because they were having trouble, even though they were duty released. There's just not coverage at their schools, and so some of them will be popping in. Our middle school folks may be popping in a little bit late.
Okay, I'll try to keep checking the lobby. Thank you.
Okay.
And I gave you presenter rights if you need it.
Awesome. Thank you.
We did get your proposal.
Yeah, I just cleaned up the Article 22 with the language we've mirrored in the para and ESP contracts with the payroll frequency and underpayments. So
did you get ours?
I
emailed right after.
Hold on, let me look.
Ms. Jenkins, are we waiting on another administrator? Do you know?
Laura, the only thing I have from you is the automatic reply.
I'll resend it.
Okay. Oh, there we go.
You got it?
Yep.
In the cloud.
Thank you. Kevin or Wilfredo, can you forward what Laura sent us over to our team so they have it too?
Mr. Pitts, are we ready to begin? I can kick off the meeting.
He's on mute.
Our Superintendent Frederick Hyde is on board. Thank you. Ms. Yocum?
So I'm Stephanie Yocum, president of the Polk Education Association. I have my two staff members and our entire bargaining team is here that represents teachers, paraeducators, and educational support personnel.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I don't know what it is. I always have to exit and then I can come back in. So I'll only be able to be here for the first part of this because I have to run out for another meeting. I am double and triple booked most days right now, so I apologize.
Well, we're happy you're here with us. So I think looking at the agenda, Laura, and looking what we have on the table, there's a few things that are fairly easy to wrap up with the TIAC recommendation for Article 15. We had realized when we met with TIAC and in talking with Sandy Riley Hawkins that we did a pretty comprehensive overhaul of Article 15 last year through the TIAC committee. But we found that there was one part of the article that we had missed that needed to be in line with what we are now currently doing, which is 15.10-1. So that's really the only piece in Article 15 and that's coming as a joint recommendation from TIAC, which is comprised of 10 teacher PEA members and 10 district appointed staff, including central office and principals.
It's projected on the screen. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah. And so my team is apprised of this, and we are good with the recommendation if your team is good with the TIAC's recommendation. So we think that we can get that off the table.
Superintendent Hyde, did you have any comments on that article?
I'm reading through it real quick, sorry. So just so I get my acronyms correct, who is TIAC?
TIAC is the Teacher Evaluation Advisory Committee.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of our working model for the collaborative councils.
Okay.
We've had that in existence for a long time now, and it's made up of 10 PEA teacher members and 10 district appointed, which is comprised of principals as well.
Okay, Laura, Tony, any objections on I don't see anything in there that I necessarily object to. Were there any objections from the rest of the team?
No, sir. I believe everyone reviewed it in advance. There were no comments, and Ms. Riley Hawkins of our Assessment and Accountability Senior Director also reviewed it.
Perfect.
Actually, how we handled them last spring, so it's catching the language up to date with our process.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, so we can consider Article 15 tentatively agreed to.
Yes.
Perfect. The second article that we think could probably be pretty fast and getting off the table is Article 22. So I had sent over, and I know I apologize that it was right beforehand, but I mirrored what we had agreed to and ratified with the para and ESP contracts for the payroll frequency and the underpayment issue. I also added in that language piece under the financial urgency statute, which is like 22.27-3, which mirrors exactly what we have in the para and ESP contracts now. The only difference, because this isn't in the para contracts, is what we've highlighted in 22.18, but we had proposed that in July when we first brought this to the table. So everything else that would be newly added or stricken through in 22 mirrors the other two PEA contracts now. The only difference is 22.18, which we would want to change that teachers required by the board to participate in workshops or conferences or on other than a regular school day will be paid at their regular hourly rate of pay, and we're crossing out the rate of $18.09 per hour. So that's the only difference, but that's been on the table since July. So I guess what we're asking for is, I'm assuming the district's good with all the ratified language from the support staff being mirrored over. So the one piece, I guess, of discussion from your end would be, are you good with the proposed change to regular hourly rate of pay from 1809 that we proposed in July?
I believe we might have to caucus about that, Stephanie, because we just got the proposal with everything together, so.
Well,
just wanted
but
to
you
look at
had
it.
that piece of language though since July 19th. So Jason, Tony, what are your thoughts on that? Heather, have you been able to cost that out over the last 4 months? That's the only piece now that's new, that's outstanding, because the other stuff is just mirrored from the support staff.
That was, so teachers attending workshops or conferences other than the regular school day, hourly rate versus 1809, we think it will be around 492,000. We did it at a excuse me, we did it at a beginning teacher, which was 318,658. I costed it out based on the equivalency, which was 385,328. And then, so it's somewhere under $500,000.
So is this an agreeable change to bring this up to where we're paying people at their regular hourly rate instead of 1809?
The only question I have in my prior district for trainings, we had a different training rate because they're not actually performing their teaching skills. And that's my only concern. I will defer to Mr. Pitts and Mr. Hyde for their opinions on it as well.
Laura, can we caucus real quick? Do we have another room set up?
We don't, but I can get one set up, sir.
Yes.
Well, let me offer this before you guys go, because I know the 1809 mirrors what we have in Appendix D for like summer school and other like part-time folks. And we have on the table for Appendix D 25, 30, and 35 for bachelor's, master's, and then specialist doctorate, respectively. Just something as you're caucusing, if regular hourly rate of pay is something that you're kind of going back and forth on, and as Heather mentioned, Manatee had a more flat rate for training, would it make sense to mirror what we're trying to do in Appendix D? Just something for you guys to think about as you're talking about it.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. We'll talk about that too.
Okay. So are we? So my team, we'll just stay on Teams if that's all right, because we don't really have anything to really discuss at this point instead of us getting on Zoom. So are you guys setting up a separate room?
Yes, there's a separate invitation that's been sent to our team.
Okay, so we'll hang out here.
Thank you.
But Kevin, you can stop the live feed until they come back.
Right back. Thanks.
Thank you. So we are caucusing, the district's caucusing for a moment, and they should be